This is Jade Marie Patek, and you're listening to the Garrett Smith Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 18 of the podcast. I feel like just yesterday we were on the second and third episode of this thing, so it's kind of crazy how this works. But when this started, one of the people I really wanted to get on here was Jade Marie Patek, and so today that has happened. Originally, when I reached out, you were moving and, I don't know, getting engaged and just a few big things. So you've been really busy lately, haven't you?
Oh my gosh, yeah, probably one of the busiest people during these crazy times. Within like a week, we moved into a new house, got engaged, and then I became an aunt. My older sister had a baby, and it was like our first baby in the family. So a lot of things have happened. It's crazy.
Well, congratulations on all of that. I mean, 2020 is a heck of a year for most people, and for you, it's just kind of like exploding.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish it was normal times, but you know, gotta roll with the punches, I guess.
Yep, gotta make the best of it.
That's right.
Honestly, I don't think this podcast ever would have happened if there was no quarantine. It's like, I need projects. I need more irons in the fire. What am I going to do? And
there you go.
I really don't need more projects, but hey, here we are.
Yeah, but you know, as artists, we don't even know how to sit still. So that's awesome. I love that this came of it. So very cool.
Well, and I'm glad you're here. So tell us what you've been working on, musically. We just mentioned all the other life events. How have you been staying busy as a songwriter? I mean, I've seen you on the live streams and that whole thing that we've all jumped on.
Oh, yeah. So jumped on the live stream things. Bob Driver calls me the live stream queen. I was doing a lot of them there for a second, but it's just fun. It's another way to reach out to people that wouldn't really know you otherwise, because you're reaching like that page's audience, which is cool. So I haven't even done one on my own page yet. It's been nothing but like either radio stations or like sequestered songwriters, and I'm waiting for the time to do my own because I want to do like a really cool production with it. But it's been fun. I enjoyed doing that a lot, and then I've been doing a lot of not a lot. I wish I'd have been doing a lot, but I've had a couple of FaceTime writing sessions, and that's been really cool. It's a whole other way to co-write, but it's worked so far. I have 2 really good songs out of it. I'd love to do more. It's just weird how you think you have all the time in the world, but next thing you know, your day's packed full of stuff. And but I'm going to make a point to keep working on that. And then right before all the quarantine stuff, I actually wrote a bunch of songs. I was in Nashville right before all this happened. So luckily I've had some things to work with and just been kind of tweaking all that and live streams, and hopefully I'll be able to get in the studio real soon.
Awesome.
And do my own stuff. So that's kind of the goal here. As soon as I want to be in the studio. I miss it.
About 20 minutes ago, I actually booked what should be my last studio session on the album I'm putting out soon. And there is no greater feeling in the middle of stuff like this to be able to kind of get stuff back to normalcy.
Yep. It's being like not being able to. And I know some people have done it, and that's awesome for them. But like me, I just haven't been able to. So the moment I get in there, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Well, that's great. So you're putting out new music soon.
Hopefully. I mean, I feel like it'll be a quick turnover. I've messed with these songs enough over these past few months. So I'm hoping we can kind of hit the ground running once I'm able to. I've already been talking to the guy that I wanted to work with in recording. And I mean, shoot, I have about 8 songs already that I could do. It's just kind of up to him, because he's going to be more of the producer and leader on all this. So I just keep pitching him songs, and I think we have quite a few to go in to the studio on. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Well, that's pretty cool. I'm going to double back real briefly. You've moved into a new place, so I don't know where you live now, but I know initially you were from the Rockport area, correct?
Right. So I like to say that honestly, like Hallettsville, Shiner area and Rockport were both my hometowns, because I spent half my life in both halves of my lives, I guess, in those 2 towns. So it's hard to pick just one hometown. But yeah, I've spent a ton of time in Rockport, and I really consider that one still my hometown because my parents live there. They've lived there for the past 12 years straight now. So and I'm there like every weekend. So it's still technically my hometown.
Well, that's cool. Part of why I ask is because, I on the first 2 episodes of this thing, I had guests from Corpus, and I think the 5th or 6th episode, something like that, it was Stephen James. Oh, yeah! And we were all talking about how we met right after Hurricane Harvey or right before it. And that whole area, it was just amazing to see it come together and really rebuild and support each other after that. And I've got to wonder, if communities like that seem to kind of support each other right now, even though it's a totally different thing, these communities are used to having to bond together, where some other communities may not be used to having to respond. So, I mean, how's your area been doing? I mean, are people doing okay down there as far as you can tell, or is it just kind of like everything else, everyone's just having to adjust?
Oh my gosh. So we happened to be down there this past weekend for Memorial Day weekend, and it was absolute insanity like it usually is. So it feels like Rockport's kind of back to normal. I mean, the only thing that feels weird is I think the restaurants are still doing more of the curbside or like takeout delivery type stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you can still do like what right now, 25 to 50%.
I think so.
Capacity. So I mean, like, yeah, they're getting the people in, but they got to cut it off at some point. So to me, that was the only weird part about it. Like as far as like everyone around town, the gas stations were full, the hotels and motels were full. Apparently, the bar down there, that's like the place to go, Sugar Shack, that was full. So Rockport did great this weekend. So I feel like but smaller communities like that. Like you said, they kind of help each other out, and they're not as at risk at some of the bigger cities, and they're used to just supporting themselves because they're not going to get a lot of the huge aid from, like national side of things. So they gotta get it done their own selves, which that's exactly how Harvey was. I mean, yeah, they definitely got aid, but not like the larger cities like Houston, for example. And so the people of Rockport and that surrounding area, they just, got their own shit done, if you will. You said you had a bleeper. So
I have a bleeper.
I may cuss.
I get to use it. All right. And I accidentally name dropped Stephen James a second ago, so I get to use the Stephen soundbite. Oh, yeah.
Hey, you probably like that.
Yep. So the one thing I mentioned a second ago was you've been working on new music, and how long's it been since you put the Flybird EP out? Was it 2 years ago? 1 year ago?
So in November it'll be 2 years.
Okay.
So it's only been about like a year and a half, if even that. But kind of still feels like yesterday for me. But I am ready to cut a lot more songs. It's just a lot has changed since I wrote those and put them out. Just from going down the whole radio road and all the people I've met, whether it's artists or venue owners or like station or like radio DJs and station owners, and just this, and I'm sure just the people you meet the moment you put something out and you start like touring with it. And so it's a whole new chapter. And so I'm sitting here like so antsy about it. I'm seeing people put new music out, and I'm like, oh, I want to be doing that so bad. They're so lucky because we know how that goes with recording. Most people think they just recorded it like yesterday and put it out. Like these guys probably recorded it, late 2019 or early 2020. And so, they're like, well, shoot, we don't have a choice. We got to put it out now. And so, they've set this release date like months ago. So, we know how long it's taken them, but people that aren't really in the industry, they don't really see that. They think like, wow, man, they're just turning this over real quick. And you got to think about it from that perspective, because that is your audience. And so it's just like, I'm over here biting my nails, just waiting till I can put out a single or something.
Well, it's funny. I always say that people see the tip of the iceberg on what musicians really do. But honestly, I think we see the tip of the iceberg on what each other do, because there's just so much that goes into each song individually. And I get super jealous when people can just self-produce out of their house, because if I try it, I cannot mix vocals to save my life.
I know. I can't either. I'm with you.
But your EP, when it came out, it was really good. When you would open for Steven, I remember that RJ Paxton texted me. He goes, hey, you need to listen to this artist that just played with Steven. And I went and listened when your EP came out, and I was like, this is really good. So I've been a fan for a while. And
thank you.
If we could play any song off of that EP right here on the podcast, which one would you pick?
So I kind of want to show some love to this one, because I wanted it to be a single and it never really got to be. So that's why I want to plug this one. And it's the title track, Flybird. And I think it applies kind of the times that we're in right now. We're going through some darker days, but there's always, better days ahead. So that was my first pick.
Well,
But,
I caught myself wanting to do what I do with other people, and they pick a song. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I'm like, well, duh. The whole thing was good. I'm not just going to be like, that one's all right. Well, we'll play that one here. This is called Flybird.
Storm rolls in, dancing in the rain. My feet keep moving, I'm rejoicing in the pain. The pain is a reminder I'm getting where I need to be. Was a padlock on my heart, and it was his love that set me free. I've come a long way from where I've been. The rest of me has moved on, my heart can start to mend. Counting my blessings like you ain't never heard. Packing up, moving on, Flybird. There was a time when I lost myself, reflection I couldn't see. The time of my revival brought me to my knees. What once was lost has now been found. It's time to spread these wings and get my feet off the ground. I've come a long way from where I've been. The rest of me has moved on, my heart can start to mend. Counting my blessings like you ain't never heard. Packing up, moving on, Flybird. I've come a long way from where I've been. The rest of me has moved on, my heart can start to mend. Counting my blessings like you ain't never heard. Packing up, moving on, Flybird. I've come a long way from where I've been. The rest of me has moved on, my heart can start to mend. Counting my blessings like you ain't never heard. Packing up, moving on, Flybird. Packing up, moving on, Flybird.
Flybird. So take me through your story as a musician, early influences and kind of how you got to where you are now.
All right. So pretty sure I've never been shy. I've been singing since I could talk. I was always like that little girl that, if you're in even like the tiniest of crowds, oh, you want me to stand on this picnic table and sing Jingle Bells for you? Awesome. Like I will totally do it. So that's always been me to a T. And I've taken all the lessons. I did piano for like 6 years, and then I did percussion for a little while in junior high, and then I really got into sports in high school. So I played like 5 sports.
Oh,
so
wow.
it left a little bit of time to keep diving into the music thing, but I ended up picking up a guitar like the later years of high school and taught myself how to play. Fun fact, my first songs I do remember playing was Eli Young Band, Oklahoma Girl, Still a Banger, and Taylor Swift. Probably like Teardrops on my guitar or something like that. And so taught myself those songs and just kept going at it. And I started working at a restaurant in Rockport and Paradise Key. I'll go ahead and plug them because they're awesome, good people. And they had live music there all the time. And I was like, I played all these talent shows. Like, I want to do this. And so I played a few songs for them. And they're like, okay, well, here's the real test. Like, go outside and play to the regulars. They'll tell you right then and there if you suck or not. So I went and played them some of my songs, and they loved it. So they booked me, on some like weekend nights. And then that turned into like my first band when I was like 19. And we played a lot of shows. And then the band was much younger than me, if you can believe it. It was a bunch of like 15, 16-year-olds. And so they were like, at this point, they're like, oh, we kind of just want to go our own way. And so they kept playing. I kept doing like the solo acoustic stuff when I got into college. And that was technically my college job. Nice. And met a lot of, when I was in San Marcos, I met a ton of musicians, that are already in the Texas music scene. So thankful for that. Thankful for being at Texas State, where I got to meet a ton of those guys and start the whole songwriting thing. And then just, it wasn't even that long ago when I got into the whole radio thing, because my dad is obviously my biggest fan, and if y'all don't know him, y'all need to know him. He's hilarious and awesome, and he's way better on stage than I am. Like, he's a ham, he'll ham it up. And I get him up to sing with me every now and again.
That's so cool.
But it's awesome. He's the best. Well, he had a heart attack like a few years ago, and so since then he's just kind of had like a even better outlook on life, if that's possible. And so he calls me up one day in the summer, like 4 years ago, and he's like, Jade, you have to do this. We're not going to wonder what if. Like, let's do this whole like radio thing. So we pushed out, was it Drive? Yeah, Drive was my first radio single. And I was like, well, hell, let me just finish like a whole EP. So we recorded the whole EP, and then that just led to like the second and third singles. It was Dead Flowers, and then God, what was my third one?
I can't remember the order.
Oh God, Love's to Blame. Come on,
Oh,
Jake.
yeah.
Most recent one. Lord. Okay, so that was the third one I had out. And so in those 3 years that I had those singles out, I mean, the places I got to travel, I got to go all over Texas. I got to meet a ton of venue owners, like I said, the station owners, DJs. Like, it's been incredible. And then I won the new female vocalist of the year last year. And, just from all that and playing Music Fest, like, that was always like a huge bucket list thing of mine. And so getting to do all these awesome festivals and being a part of the radio world, getting to meet all these artists, like, it's just been a dream come true. I know that sounds super corny, but like, I never thought in a million years I'd be like hanging out with these people and working with them and writing music with them, and even like going to Nashville for like music purposes. I thought I'd just go like as a tourist, and check it out. And so it's been insane. And the connections I've made over the years have been awesome. I've had so many doors open for me, and all these different opportunities to play shows and open for people and even headline. So hopefully I just scratched the surface. I had a lot of cool things, to be honest, planned, but for March and April, and that kind of didn't work out because damn coronavirus. But I'm just hoping that, although those didn't happen, that they'll happen maybe later on this year, and I'll just keep continuing to build off that, put out new music, and just keep writing and keep networking. And yeah, hopefully,
adjustment
I'm
is the name of the game right now.
Oh my God, 100%.
Yeah,
just staying relevant. It's hard to stay relevant in a digital world right now. So
it really is. Although I will say it helps that there's that giant Twitter poll going on right now. I don't know if you saw it today, the Texas Music Life poll. Did you see that?
No.
There's this giant monster of a bracket that came out this week on Tech. It's at TX Music Life. And there's 140 Texas artists in this thing. I'm like when March Madness comes around, you got those unheard of colleges that are playing each other just to get into the bracket. So
Yeah.
that's me. I'm in there with Jared Johnson, Cross Rags and Young, Vanessa Lynn Bird, and yeah, it's just the four of us. And whoever wins gets to go get smacked around by Granger Smith. But then I'm actually looking at the bracket right now. You are the 123rd seed, and you're up against Whiskey Myers. I don't know what day that is, but
Oh, no way. That's funny. Okay, I'm trying to find it. It's Texas Music Live?
Yeah, at TX Music Life.
Oh, Life. Whoops, I did Live. That's where I went wrong.
That's probably one too.
Live. Texas Music Live. Cool. No, I want to check this out. I suck at Twitter. I'll be honest. I'm so like I'm witty in my head, but then I get way too scared to post it out to the interwebs.
See,
wow.
My problem
God.
is I'm funny on Facebook, but that's the one nobody uses except relatives and stuff. So, I can't do TikTok. I can't
crazy.
do Snapchat or any of that stuff. I have those, but I am terrible at them.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I found it now.
Yeah, there's like a million people. But you were talking about, it's cool to hang out with certain people and be able to go certain places where before it may have been just for tourist purposes and all that. One of the previous people I had on here was Bree Bagwell, and the reason I was reminded of this is because you were talking about playing sports. She played volleyball. She was actually giving you high praise on that episode. I don't remember which episode number that was, but she was like, yeah, I'm a big fan of Jade Patek. I'm like, well, I think she's going to be on the podcast, so I'm going to tell her you said that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
she's the best. She has really helped me out in like the beginning stages of trying to get my name out there. So I definitely give her props and appreciation for all that. And she does that not just with me, but with other up and comers too. And so
yeah.
I respect the hell out of her. She's awesome.
Well, she's one of those that no matter how popular she gets, I mean, she still makes time for people, which is, I respect that.
Absolutely.
One other thing I was going to actually mention, you were talking about your dad, and you mentioned family influences. I read somewhere that your grandfather was a big polka legend. Is that correct?
That is so correct. So they had a band called the Joe Patek Orchestra. They came over from Czechoslovakia.
Wow.
And they played all over Texas. It started probably in the 20s, but like my grandpa and great grandpa, they played up until about the mid to late 80s. And they played like their own stuff they brought over from their home country, and they even like covered songs. And it's so this is just like my weird brain working, but like when people think of polka music, they think of what? An accordion, right? Like that's the first instrument they think of. They didn't have any accordion in their music. They're nothing but brass instruments. So saxophones, tubas, baritones, all that stuff. And they were like more like a jazzy or soulful kind of sound. So I don't think a lot of people like really listen to polka our age anymore. But if you happen to, and you can distinguish their sound because they have a bit more of like a jazzier, soulful like tone to their music. And they even sold like 1 million albums of a song, and it's crazy. So they've done tributes to them all over the state, and it's insane. So I've definitely like once I was old enough to understand and comprehend all that, and like my grandpa sang stuff to us all the time, and once I started playing music, he came to watch one of my first shows and like cried. He was just like so proud. So the main reason I do it is because of that. And obviously I love it. So.
Well, polka could make a comeback because it's 2020 and I've stopped questioning anything that happens in this year. So never say
I
never.
hope so. And you know what? And like David Beck's Tejano weekend, like he's got a whole band. He's touring like with Shiny Ribs. You just never know. Like Tejano and polka, if they come back, I would not be mad about it.
That'd be legit. I'd watch it. Well, you talk about tributes and covers and things like that. You've done a lot of covers and put them out on Spotify and whatever other platforms. And the first one I think I heard was the Me and Bobby McGee cover. And you rocked them. Like, I mean, you completely owned them. Because there's a lot of covers people put out there. It's like, either they're bored or they just did this to do this. But it's not like they were really into the cover. But, I mean, you kind of took ownership when you performed them. So how do you choose which covers you put out there?
Well, those were my soul sessions were my top 3. Those were my go-tos. And of course, like, when your shows, it depends when you're playing a 3-hour show versus when you're playing like an hour show, how many covers you're going to do, right? So those were always like the ones that I'd get the best feedback on, the ones I felt like I owned. the ones I could just like completely like wrap myself up in when I'm singing. Like I feel like I'm Janice, you know, when I'm singing that song, or if it's Soulshine, like I feel like I'm the Allman Brothers. Like and so it's just one of those things that those are my top three that I wanted to do. Literally, just brutally honest, I want to record those before I died because you just never know. So that's something I always wanted to do, especially me and Bob McGee. That was my number one. I wanted to make sure I did because it just like meant a lot to like myself, my dad, my family. Like it was, I don't even know why it meant that much to them. Like, maybe because it just like I embodied it when I sang it. I don't know, but my dad was telling me that for years and years and years. And so I'm like, you know what, damn it, I'm finally gonna go record it because God forbid, you never know what's gonna happen. You know, tomorrow's never promised. So I went ahead and did the dang thing, and I'm glad I did.
That's awesome. I've always thought I was going to record a cover of Mr. Brownstone by Guns N' Roses, but I have yet to find a band that wants to actually play it. So I'm kind of like, well, maybe someday.
You can always hire studio musicians.
That's true. That's true. Well, before we play another song here, I do want to give a quick nod to, as you were talking about Drive. I think anyone that's been a songwriter and done the whole local bar scene can definitely relate to that song. And the one I want to play here in a second is Damn the Rain, because that one is one where sometimes when you hear a song at the right time, it hits you just more than if you're just listening to it in general. That's one of those that I remember I was moving to Temple a year ago, and it's just one of those, you know, it was a time period of transition, leaving some people that I was going to miss. And it's one of those, you hear a sad song, it's like, oh, I'm going to remember that moment. And that happened to be the one, and it was raining when I heard it. So it's a cool song. It's really not a downer. I just made it sound depressing. It's really not. It's just a good slow song. So I'm gonna play that one here, and this is awesome. Damn the Rain.
Woke up this morning to sound of pouring rain. I guess I'm not the only one that's crying. Breaking lights, teary eyes in the rear view. It's probably the last I'll see of you. Damn the rain on my skin. Damn the rain that's on my car. It's not just raining outside. Tonight it's raining on my heart. Brought the sunshine to my life. Now there's dark clouds every day. Damn the rain. Damn the rain. Damn the rain. Me standing there, raindrops like tears on my cheek. This wasn't what I predicted in my forecast this week. I sure as hell didn't see it coming. Sunny as far as I could see. He left us falling down. The rain and me. Damn the rain had this far. Damn the rain that caused my sin. It's not just raining outside. Tonight it's raining deep within. You were everything in my life. Now there's nothing left to say. But damn the rain. Damn the rain. Damn the rain. Tonight it's raining on my heart. Brought the sunshine to my life. Now there's dark clouds every day. Damn the rain. Damn the rain. Damn the rain.
So, what are some of your favorite venues and towns to perform in?
Well, I have to say I love Brewster Street and playing in Corpus. There's nothing
Yes.
like it. It's so much fun. I've met so many new people and friends, fans, all that good stuff just from being there. And that was kind of one of those first moments when I played there with my first single out to radio, that when I started playing Drive, people like looked and they were like, oh, this is the girl. Awesome. And so they'd get out and dance to it. And like that to me was such a cool moment because they were singing along with it and they didn't even freaking know me. So that was awesome. I love playing in New Braunfels, San Marcos, Austin, like just pretty much the area that I grew up going to shows and listening to them, which is cool to be on the other end of it. Now saying that, I also love playing these other new venues that I never dreamt or in my wildest dreams would have thought I'd ever be playing at. So I've never met a venue I didn't like.
What's the best one you've played? That's a tough question.
Other than like hometown stuff, or
just like if you had to pick one that was your favorite experience.
I guess it'd either be Brewster Street or TKO's in Shiner, because I did like my CD releases there, obviously, because those are the two places that I grew up. And packing the house in Shiner was probably the coolest thing ever. Like, people were waiting outside to come in. We just jammed so hard. And then Brewster's, like I said, always the best time. I think that was my first CD release show, and I bawled my eyes out. And then I'll add a new one to that as I'm talking. I remember the very last live show I played before quarantine at Rustic Tap in Austin. And that was one of the most fun shows I've ever played, full band. I had Bob Driver, Austin Garrett, and Johnny Bautista with me. And we played like it was our last show, because it kind of technically was for a good while. And we just let loose, had the best time. Jammed like we were freaking rock stars. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Well, of your songs that you play when you're playing all these venues, if you had to pick one of your own original songs to say that was, probably one that had the best backstory, that meant the most to you, what would be the front runners of your songs?
Ooh. So if I had to go with off the EP, because I guess that would be the most like familiar songs to people. Loves to Blame and Flybird and Damn the Rain. And of course, Drive too. Shoot. Okay, Drive
the whole EP.
yeah. Well, the whole half of it for sure. Just because they've been out there, they're recognizable. And Flybird just has a really good message. I like happy songs as much as I like sad songs. I like the ones that put a smile on your face. So.
If you could do a music video to one of them, which one would you pick?
So we have to take out Love's to Blame, because I did do a music video for that. But if it were any other one, I think Damn the Rain, because it paints a picture better than most. Drive paints a decent picture, but for sure. But I think Damn the Rain would be a really cool one to do, because you can add that rain aspect. And we even talked about it for a while. My good friend Christine, she's the one who did Love's to Blame, and we talked about what we would do for Damn the Rain, and she'd get like a whole rain and fog machine and just do a lot of cool stuff with that one. So,
well, I'm usually really good at doing my homework on this stuff, and I somehow completely missed that you had a video to that. I'm sitting here like, wow, yeah. I have never missed that before. But what was filming that video like? Because I can tell you, I'm definitely going to go check it out after this.
Oh, it was so fun. We did it at the Phoenix Saloon in New Braunfels. And I had all my good friends a part of it, which was awesome. They all happened to be in town. And we started kind of early-ish, and it was just a lot of lip syncing and a lot of really awkward faces and a lot of awkward looks from other people. But it was a blast. We did a bunch of different shots. I don't know if you've ever seen the Phoenix Saloon, but
that's actually
it's
where
really
I
cool.
Played my first gig. Yeah, I was opening for Steven there. Yeah.
There you go. Oh my God, I opened for Steven there too. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Small world.
Yeah, so we did big stage shots. We did the ones by those old couches. We went down in the basement and did some those shots down there. We did some outside. it was a ton of fun. And then we ended it with the part where it's like, in the song where it's like, if you're thinking of coming on back, go straight to hell. Like, I had all my friends and we all like took shots, and it was really cool. That was like our last shot of the night. And because, you know, you got to sing the song a million times in different places, and then they piece it all together. But it was a ton of fun making, and we even did like a giveaway leading up to it. And I think it was one of our best like marketing jobs that we've done too, other than like the pre-release of the EP.
That's awesome. I am probably the only guy in Texas that missed that. So I'm
No,
looking forward to
I'm
seeing
sure
it.
you did not. You're not the only one. It's fine.
Well, that's really cool. I love that spot. The night we were playing there, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. You know, first gig, I got to go do this. This is several years ago, and I was just starting off, and I found out that night, I think Bree was playing up the street, Krager was playing the amphitheater, I think Cody Canada was playing just down the road. I'm like, really? Of all nights, that's the one I picked? But I was just glad to be there. But it's pretty cool that you were able to do that, and that the other songs would fit so well. The first one I thought of was Damn the Rain, because I thought, you know, I could picture like a black and white rain scene happening for that one. But if we could play another one before jumping to the last round of questions, which one would we play here?
I want to play Drive.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll play that one here,
Yeah.
because we were talking about that one a second ago. This one is
Exactly.
Drive.
In the morning, no one in this bar. Gotta drive myself home tonight. What's in that tip jar? Played my heart out, sang my favorite songs. 2 or 3 requests made the night a little long. Standing in this bar like a ghost in this room. I try to pay my bartender, he's got better things to do. So I drive another bar in my rear view. This road goes on forever, these miles paying my dues. So I sleep, miss another morning light, wake up in the evening, gonna do it all again tonight. New town, another late night, chasing after the sun. Do I drive myself home tonight, or stay here to have some fun? Folks, they ask me, will you ever want more? It's a tough road ahead, what are you doing this for? I tell them, ain't got no money, but I got a little soul. I don't need much to make me happy, this guitar, it makes me whole. So I drive another bar in my rear view. This road goes on forever, these miles paying my
So that was Drive. So what, we've kind of talked about upcoming projects, but what are some of the goals you have for the near future, especially when things return to normal?
Oh man, definitely putting out the new music and booking as many shows as possible, because it's like you forget how to play in front of people and be a normal social human. So I'm hoping I can play as many shows as I possibly can this bottom half of 2020, since the first half was ruined by old Corona. But I just want to get out there in the festivals and get to open for artists and continue to network and keep playing and share my new songs with everybody.
It's so weird. I was telling somebody else this. The weirdest thing about live streams being the only platform right now is the fact that somebody who just started writing music yesterday and is just doing a live stream, they're technically playing the same stage as Cody Johnson, if you think about it. It's like everyone kind of has this weird level playing field, and it's so strange.
It's wild, isn't it? We talked about that since like day one of live streams. You're like, wow, now we have this opportunity to be on an even playing field with, your freaking heroes, to take advantage of it.
Yeah. This podcast kind of happened because it was doing one of those live streams with a group of people, and another artist was like, you should do a podcast. I'm like, no, there's no way. And then here we are. But the whole live stream thing, I think that's actually going to continue, because now people will realize, people will still watch this stuff, even though we're kind of burned out on them. And for me, it's not that I've forgotten how to do live shows. I've kind of forgotten how to ask, because I feel weird being like, hey, you've lost a lot of money and you're only at 25 or 50% capacity, but can you pay me to come play? It's like a weird ask for a lot of places.
It is. I mean, I've reached out to a few, but it's always been like, hey, as soon as y'all are able, I'm ready to be there. So
it's weird.
That's all you really can do.
Like
what's up?
I had to announce a pending show this week. I'm like, hey, y'all come out maybe. I don't know. It's like I might see y'all. Oh God,
I know. I put when I posted about all my May shows and then half of them get rescheduled and or canceled. I was like, oh, I gotta retract all that.
Well, I thought I was shooting myself in the foot. I didn't schedule anything for April or part of May, because I was like, I just need to focus on studio time. And because basically it's not new music I'm doing. I'm redoing all the stuff I've got out and just kind of reintroducing it all. And I was like, I'm going to focus on that. And then once we get into late May and June, then I'll maybe start booking stuff. So I had a few local shows, but I was like, I don't know if that's going to be enough. And now here we are, where I'm like, you know what? That's perfect. I'm really glad I didn't book more than that.
No kidding. I was the complete opposite. I had so many cool shows lined up. I was so excited about, and then all this happened, and they kept kind of pushing them. They're like, you know what? Just can't do it. And I was like, no. Well, but
I think
I'm sure all this is happening for a reason.
Yeah, the scene will bounce back, and you're one of them. I mean, it's going to be okay as people wear the old cliche out. But I mean, won't happen overnight. But I think everybody will get back to where they were, and then just kind of keep progressing. And it's one of those things where I know a lot of artists who this is full time, all they have done for years. Like a lot of the big timers, everybody's kind of hurting right now. So the demand is there to get it back and going. And for me, I'm kind of glad I have an excuse. So if, I can only fill a quarter of the room, I'm like, oh no, it's just because they wouldn't let more people in.
Exactly. I love that. I've seen a few people do that. They're like, oh, you only need to fill at 25%. Well, book me.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny.
I'm your guy. Yeah. But the big three questions that I ask everybody at the end of these things is, actually, before I ask the big three, let me tell people where to find your music if they haven't already. What is the best place to find and stream your music and buy it and follow you on social media?
So the best place to stream are all the streaming platforms, because it just depends on your preference. I'm everywhere. So Spotify, iTunes, or was it Apple Music these days? Amazon,
no
all that good stuff. I know I say iTunes, but I'm pretty sure it's Apple Music now. But yeah, any of even freaking Pandora. But all those places. And the best way to buy it is, if you want the physical CDs, is if you were to go to my website, jademariamusic.com. You can get CDs, signed CDs. You can get all the merch that I have. I've got T-shirts, hats, koozies, long sleeves, fishing shirts, cups, all kinds of things. and where they can follow me. Well, I'll have all the dates too on my website, of course. And then if you want to follow along with my life, it'd be, most of it is either at Jade Marie Patek or Jade Marie is my personal Facebook, but everything else is Jade Marie Patek. So.
Cool. I would highly encourage everyone to do that. I will add that I got my 5 or 10 cents royalties from Deezer the other day, and I'm like the little kid from Talladega Nights. I don't even know what that is, but I love it. So.
Exactly. I know. I love it. I love getting my random little $10 or $3 deposits.
I'm like, thank you, Mom, for listening to my song 20 times. All right.
Exactly.
Well, y'all definitely follow Jade on all the platforms. You won't be disappointed. And for the big 3 questions, the first one is if you could collaborate with anyone out there, who would it be?
So, do they have to be alive?
Preferably, but you can give me one dead, one alive if you want.
Okay. So, shoot, that's a hard to pick just one, but if it had to be just one, Sean McConnell.
Nice.
Or John Mayer. I think John Mayer would be pretty tight to work with.
You're the second person to say John Mayer on this podcast.
It just, his guitar playing, man, like it's so good. I guess if you had to go if you want to go by guitar players and songwriters and stuff, Gary Clark Jr. is awesome. I think that'd be pretty awesome to work with him. Yeah. Trying to think of ones that are still alive here that I just love listening to them jam out that are somewhat in the zone of what I like to sing. So
there's something to that because I remember I used to be a huge Brad Paisley fan back in early to mid 2000s, and his sound kind of changed some like most of the Nashville groups, but even when I wasn't really much of a fan anymore, I kept going back to thinking, man, he is a killer guitar player. Just it really
if you're going
out.
to collaborate with anybody, you kind of want them to be a double or triple threat. So yeah. I think it'd be cool. And I obviously would love to sit with John Prine or Janis Joplin and work with them, the people that are, now gone.
Yeah.
And so that would probably be my top 2 for sure.
That's awesome. Well, if you could headline any venue, where would you go play? I know we kind of covered the favorite ones you have played, but if there's one you haven't, what would be the ultimate goal to headline?
Red Rocks Amphitheater. Easy. That would be so cool. What a cool vibe that place is.
I think you're the second or third in a row that I've had answer that. I think the first person that said that was on episode 5, and then later on, I think people started picking that one up more and more. And it got to the point where I got curious and started looking into it, and I'm like, what are the acoustics like in this place? How big is it? It's kind of intriguing.
Oh my God, it's incredible. I've never been to it, but that's just a goal, bucket list, anything of mine, whether I'm just there spectating or being a part of the show. That'd be so cool. I mean, there's obviously you can sell out arenas all day, like Madison Square Garden, places like that. But I don't think anything beats playing at Red Rocks Amphitheater. That would be so cool.
That would be awesome. The big finale question is, what is the funniest or craziest story that you can tell from your music career so far?
Funniest or craziest? So I'll say a lot of really cool opportunities that to me are crazy. When I get to jump on stage and sing a song with Wade Bowen or something, to me that's pretty wild. Or Ray Wiley, getting to get up there and sing songs with your heroes, that you grew up admiring forever has been awesome. I think the funny ones have to be when I get my dad on stage. Sometimes I catch him by surprise and invite him, and sometimes he's like, "Here, I brought you beers. I'm walking on the stage to hand you a beer. Oh, while I'm here, do you want me to sing with you?" Okay.
Sure.
So to me, I find that hilarious. And so I'm like, "Well, Dad, while you're here," and he's like, "Yeah, duh. That's why I did this. Come on." So that, and then moments where, to me, they're funny. And I guess you could take them as either the whole female thing or not. But I played a show with my good friend Juliette McConkey, incredible songwriter. She and I were just playing Poorhouse one night, and this guy just wasted comes up and he's like, "Hey, I want y'all to play this George Jones song." And we're like, well, we're done for the night, but thanks for asking. And then like it was one of those that was just very persistent. So I'm like, whatever, okay, here's my guitar. Please just do it so we can end the night. He's like, no, I don't know how to play it. You got to play it. Oh, okay. Well, what song is it? A song I've never heard of by George Jones. And so I'm like, I'm trying to listen to what he's saying and play along with it. And he kept saying his name was Cherry Bomb. And so that's always like an inside joke now with all of us girls that were like hanging out that evening. And so we're always like, oh man, I hope we don't see Cherry Bomb. So that to me is like one of the funnier ones. But it's like, it kind of was annoying, but at the end of the day, it's like it was hilarious.
So now anytime somebody walks up to the stage, you're just gonna think, great, I'm about to get cherry bombed.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the perfect word for it. It is now a verb.
I get so much anxiety when people start to say a song. It's like, hey, you should play this. And they'll say somebody like George Jones. And if it's one that I don't know, I'm kind of like, oh no. Am I going to look like a total idiot because I don't know some song that apparently everyone else does? And then I'll go look it up, and it's never one of the more famous ones, but I'm always afraid it's going to be like some obvious song. Or
I know.
When it's a drunk person, you don't know why they're wandering onto the stage. It's like, dude, no.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, well, you know what? I'm just going to play like the songs that I play, and I'm the one here getting paid to do it, not you. So I appreciate the request. And my good friend Brent Michael Wood, like his famous words that always crack me up when we play a show together is he's like, he introduces us, I'm Brent Michael Wood, this is my good friend Jade Marie Patek, we're gonna play some music for y'all. If you have any requests, keep them to yourself. And then he just like starts the song, and I'm like, it's genius. It's so genius.
I always go back to the phrase that Sunny Sweeney posted where she said it was something called an ask hole. It's like somebody who stands by the stage and asks questions while you're trying to sing. Like,
yes.
I'm stealing that.
Yes, God, there's a ton of those out there. I'm glad it's more common than I thought. I thought it was just me.
I feel like there's a lot of those things where I'm like, oh, good, it's not just me.
Yes.
Well, Jade, I'm glad you came onto the podcast today. Like I said, you were one of the first people I wanted to get on here. So I made a list whenever I started this thing. I'm like, by the time I hit episode 20, these are people I want to interview. And here we are at 18. So got you in there, and I really appreciate it. But yeah,
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to the new music. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you asking me, and I always appreciate your support. You're always in there on the socials and always supporting me, and I see that. So I just want to tell you I appreciate that very much.
Well, hopefully I'll be at a show soon supporting, because I'm ready to go see some live music. But
same here, and I'm ready to play some live music. Let's go.
Yep. Well, shameless self-plug. Anyone listening who's in the Belton Temple area, I will actually be playing at Jay Neely's, a series of shows here in July and June, so be on the lookout for those. And for your upcoming music, do you have any that are actually set on the calendar coming up soon? I know a lot of people are kind of starting to ease into that.
As far as live shows?
Yeah.
I have a wedding and then that I'm playing at, and then
I can't invite everyone to that, unfortunately.
No, but no, the big awesome one is Highway 30 Music Fest in Twin Falls, Idaho, and I'm so excited to be up there. It's beautiful, and they have the nicest people and the best music, so it'll be a blast. I'm looking forward to that. The June 26th and 27th, I believe. So awesome. I'm stoked.
Cool. Well, yeah, y'all be on the lookout, and as soon as you're playing some shows here locally, throw them out there. I'll share them, as you said, on the socials. But y'all, this has been Jade Marie Patek on the Garrett Smith podcast. And what should we close this thing out with?
Let's close it out with... Did I say Love's to Blame already? No, I don't think we did. Let's go ahead and do that one.
Awesome. Well, here it is. Love's to Blame.
Hand me the whiskey and pass me that smoke. Let me tell you a little story how a heart got broke. Ring around a finger pounding in my head. A million times I woke up in an empty bed. I should probably thank my daddy, 'cause he saw that I was mad. In fact, he kept me from taking all the money that you had. Ain't pointing no fingers, ain't saying no names. The only thing I say is love's to blame. Love's to blame, oh love's to blame. And I think I almost traded my last name. Love's to blame, oh love's to blame. The only thing I say is love's to blame. with all those stupid games you used to play. All the plans we had for a white wedding didn't keep you from running around on me. You should probably thank my daddy, 'cause he saw that I was mad. In fact, he kept me from taking all the money that you had. Ain't pointing no fingers, ain't saying no names. The only thing I say is love's to blame. Love's to blame, oh love's to blame. And I think I almost traded my last name. Love's to blame, oh love's to blame. The only thing I say is love's to blame. Ain't hearing no excuses, don't tell me no lies. I'm better off, don't act like you're surprised. I moved on now, I'm from under your spell. And if you're thinking of coming on back, go straight to hell. You should probably